Hey, it's me, Bob33, and welcome back to my review of MovieBob's book, chapter by chapter. In this book, Super Mario 3's Brick by Brick, we'll be entering chapter 1, which is a brief history of Super Mario. Now, I'm assuming all my listeners out there are pretty familiar with Super Mario's backstory, and really there's not much anything new in this chapter that Bob Chapman wrote. So I'm going to try to keep this pretty short. He started off this chapter by talking about how today's icons are quote unquote focus grouped, which, well, that's probably somewhat true, but of course, I don't think he really means that every video game character nowadays are a focus group and dealt with marketing team. I mean, independent developers, for example. Then he kind of falls out with a weird questions. He's talking about what makes video game characters an icon, and after that sentence, he's talking about how to make a female character, like, and I'm quoting here, just what is the proper length of a skirt between sexually empowered and pandering mere fantasy. Kind of weird. He doesn't really follow that up. That's how the sentence ends. Well, if you want to answer, well, just going by grayscale logic, it's the knees. But I'm sure he wasn't looking for an actual answer there. Now, when talking about Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of Super Mario, he puts him on a pretty high pedestal. Like, he calls him a god, living among humans, I mean, I'm sure it's just to pay compliment to the guy, who made his favorite video game character that means so much to him. But not sure if this is foreshadowing to what the books come. I mean, I haven't read the complete book yet. Haven't started on chapter 2 yet. But I just want to keep that in mind, and hopefully y'all do too. Now, one fact I didn't know about Shigeru Miyamoto, that he wanted to be a manga artist, but ends up joining Nintendo to become a video game designer. Now, this is probably not Bob Chapman's fault. I guess whoever's editing this book, but these book has some weird sentence structure. Like, for one moment, it's just a regular paragraph. Well, while it's into the next paragraph, it's just one sentence in between two paragraphs. Like, for example, the one sentence says it needed a hero in regular text, it's like the rest of the book, and then it enters a new paragraph. Now, going by grayscale logic again, usually a paragraph needs like about 3 to 5 sentences to be a proper paragraph. So it's just kind of weird seeing the sentence all alone by itself. I'm assuming originally that Bob Chapman wanted that word like in bigger format, maybe in bold or italics, something fancy, like some other books does. But just reading that just makes it seem pretty weird. And, well, there's quite a few in this chapter. Again, I'm not sure if this is how Bob Chapman actually wrote it, or if somebody edited the layout of the book. But, I'm not going to hold it against him too much. Now, he talks about all the games that Mario's been, like, of course, Donkey Kong. He also mentions that he's made an appearance in the 2 Donkey Kong sequels, which, well, second one, of course, as a villain, and the third one, I never played Donkey Kong 3, but I'm assuming the main character is Stanley. Unless Mario made a cameo appearance that I'm not aware of, I only he ever appeared in that game. So I should have done some research. I admit that. But he talks about Super Mario Brothers, Mario Brothers 2, of course, Mario Brothers 3, which he will talk about in more detail. And then talks about the beginning of the fall, with Super Mario Super Mario World. Which he kind of mentions Sega during the for the console war. How Sonic's about to rise up and challenge Nintendo. But it's pretty much stuff that I'm pretty sure every gamer is familiar with. So there's really not much interesting there. But just going to my bullet points that I wrote down and have the book in my head, just in case. But then he talks about Nintendo fall began with Super Mario 64. Well, maybe not at Super Mario 64, but probably right after it. And during that time, the Sony PlayStation was coming out, beginning the rise of Sony, which, it was true. Well, the 64 was, one of my favorite consoles and a pretty popular console, but not popular enough to, in the sales department. That's when PlayStation started to make the move. And of course, he fears that Super Mario will be, forgotten because, all these new characters, like Crash or Kratos. He does mention Master Chief a bit. Even though Mario is still making games and, still selling pretty well, I guess he, compared to, I guess, the older games like Super Mario Bros. 3, didn't really reach that level of popularity, I suppose. Which, I don't know, I think he's kind of being a little bit dramatic, just a little bit. But, again, that's just my interpretation. I'm sure it's just, storytelling, how Mario was on the top, then, he went back down. And, of course, he talks about the rebirth in 2006 when Super Mario Galaxy came out. But the Wii was the console that was selling off the market, surpassing the 360 and PlayStation 3. And, he pretty much likes the Mario platformers in general. Well, he does like Mario Kart and Smash Brothers, which technically not a Mario game, but Mario's on the front cover, the main mascot, so whatever. He doesn't really talk about the Mario RPG that much. I think he mentioned it here and there. And well, speaking of games, one thing I forgot to bring up when I was talking about Miyamoto, out of all the games that he mentions that Miyamoto made, Radar Scope being his first, Donkey Kong, Mario's debut. Excuse me. I'm surprised he didn't mention Legend of Zelda, which, I know he's a huge fan of Legend of Zelda. Excuse me. Should have bought some water, but he even, on the Game Overthinker, he even created a character named Ivan, which is Navi spelled backwards, and pretty much a fairy. Yeah, real original, but I kind of like that character, to be honest. But you think that would be something worth mentioning? I mean, not even saying, oh, Miyamoto, creator of Mario and Zelda and other Nintendo games. No, just focus on Mario, which, I'm sure that he decided to do that to A, keep focus on the topic, and B, to keep this book a bit shorter. But I still think he should have mentioned some of the other games that Shigeru Miyamoto made, just to show how great of a guy he is, how great of a video game designer. But that's pretty much it. This leads to chapter 2, or part 2, as he said. Which is it's entitled Mario and Me: My Life in the Mushroom Kingdom, which I'm assuming how the Game Overthinker was introduced to Super Mario. So stay tuned for that. Hope you guys enjoy this. Sorry if I kind of pause and stutter a bit and mess up. I'm still pretty new at this, and hopefully this book would give me more to talk about. So this is me, Bobby Dre, and have a nice day.